Basic Brewing Video is brought to you by the American Homebrewers Association, a worldwide community of fermentation enthusiasts. Join the association in September and receive a pound of free Azaka hops with your membership. Go to homebrewersassociation.org and use the promo code SEPTHOPS when you join or renew. Welcome to Basic Brewing Video. I'm James Spencer.
I'm Steve Wilkes.
You know, last year, at about this time, I tried making a hard seltzer for the first time. And you may remember, I had a stuck fermentation.
You did.
And I had to add like twice as much yeast nutrient as normal to get the thing back up and going. And still, it didn't get down to where I wanted to, gravity-wise. But I kegged it anyway and put some flavoring in there. And it was okay.
That's all right. Yeah.
Well, this time I got a pack of the Bartleby, A46 Bartleby kveik yeast. It's a Hornindal kveik strain from Imperial Organic Yeast.
Mm-hmm. Which is on sale, by the way, at stevesbrewshop.com.
They're sponsors of the show. Shameless plug ended. So anyway, I said I want to do a hot porch seltzer. And so what I did was I fermented this out on the porch and let the kveik strain, let the Bartleby get at it. And was it any different this time?
No.
Spoiler alert. Okay, so here's what I did. I took 4 pounds or 1.8 kilograms of dextrose and put it into 4.5 gallons of water, or 17 liters. And I brought it up to boil for 10 minutes just to sanitize the sugars. And then I chilled it down to 100 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 98 degrees Fahrenheit, or 37 C, and put it into a glass carboy and pitched the A46 Bartleby. Put it out on the porch, and a few hours later, the airlock was moving, and the next day, airlock was still moving, and I shook it up and released lots of CO2 out of it. Mm-hmm. And this happened for about 3 days. And so I said, boy, things are going to be better this time. So I took a gravity reading, and it was still at the original gravity.
Wow.
So what I did was I added, again, more yeast energizer, because, dextrose has nothing for the yeast to eat. Mm-mm. So I added basically double the amount of yeast energizer that is recommended. The fermentation perked right up, and the Bartleby got it down to 0.996. So it got it down way lower than last year's yeast. So you got to feed your yeast, even good, strong, healthy kveik yeast.
Right.
It needs enough food for it to do its work.
Yeah, that stuff was super fresh too.
Yeah.
So we know the yeast was like.
So what I did was I took the 5 gallons of seltzer, and I racked it on top of 3 pounds, or about 6 cups or 1.5 liters of Blackberry puree, mm-hmm. and put it in the keg, and that's where it is right now. This was pulled off. This is about the 5th or 6th pint that I've pulled off of it. And it's still a little chunky, but it's starting to clear out a little bit. So here's our thumbnail. So let's see what you think.
Got a toothpick?
What?
Got a toothpick?
This is you want a spoon so you can get every bite. No, it's
pretty good.
It's less chunky than it was in the very beginning. Oh, by the way, the original gravity 1036, found gravity 0.996, and ABV of 4.2%. Now this is the third beverage that I have racked onto fruit puree in the keg, and I like the technique. I don't like the chunkiness, but I like the technique of using fresh, unfermented fruit in the serving vessel.
Yep. Well, I'm gonna tell you that this is the first, well, it's only the second one you've made, But it's the first seltzer really that I've kind of had, other than really well-made professional ones. And there's a few out there. I really like this.
Do you?
Yeah, it's really good.
Now, I told Steve to be honest before we
And I am.
before we turn on the camera.
The one you made last time, it was okay.
I agree.
It wasn't poorly made. There wasn't anything wrong with it.
Right.
But it wasn't great. This is really refreshing. Mm-hmm. I'm really kind of surprised. And that fresh fruit, the freshness of the fruit, it's not a fermented fruit flavor, is really nice. And then the low alcohol, this would be great at any kind of gathering. I mean, people would really enjoy this. People who don't drink beer, frankly.
Yeah. Now, it's not low calorie because it's fruit juice essentially in there. So you're not going to get the benefits of putting like an extract, a fruit extract in your seltzer. So it's not low calorie.
Right.
But I think that the fresh fruit, second show of the day.
It's not that low alcohol, is it?
The fresh fruit is nice and bright, and I carbonated a little high. I left it on 20 pounds per square inch in the keg for like 3 or 4 days. So it was fairly fizzy, especially coming straight out of the keg. Now, again, we must warn you, if you bottle condition your beverages, don't put this into a bottle and prime it with extra sugar thinking that you're going to get regular carbonation. The yeast is going to eat all the fermentable sugars. Yeah. So the best thing to do is to put it into a chilled serving vessel. Keep serving it, and keep your eye on it. Mm-hmm. But this is the third one I've done in this way, and it's fine.
I really think this is very drinkable. I mean, it's really nice. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have any kind of weird wang to it. Again, going back to the low alcohol, it doesn't hit you. You don't have a sense of warmth, and so it's just really a refreshing thing for a party
you could even serve that on ice.
Sure, you could. Yeah, absolutely.
And the Bartleby, once again, once I gave it enough to eat, and what I gave it was this yeast nutrient that I got from your shop, stevesbrewshop.com, that has diammonium phosphate, spring cell, and magnesium sulfate. So it's, and the amount that's recommended on the package would have probably worked in a mead, but it's not enough for this dextrose and water mixture, because it's just not, it's starving. There's nothing for the yeast to eat.
No, there's not.
But once you give the yeast enough to eat, and you pitch the right amount, and the yeast is fresh and all that other stuff, the raw product, I should have saved some of the the unflavored seltzer.
Oh yeah.
Because it didn't have much of a flavor at all, which is what you want for a hard seltzer. You want it to be a blank canvas that you can put anything in. So I think I would like to try this again, and instead of using puree, which has got all the chunkiness from the fruit, and you have to worry about it, coming out of the dip tube the first few pours. I would like to use just a nice, tasty juice with no pulp instead.
I think that would be a great idea. The other thing that I've been thinking about lately in terms of flavoring a beer or a seltzer, though I wasn't thinking about seltzer, but is liqueurs. So using, what's it, Chambord, I think is the, like blackberry or raspberry. I'm not sure. I know I'll get that wrong, so someone will correct me. But it's a berry liqueur, and using, again, you wouldn't want to bottle that because it has a lot of sugar in it, and so it'll do its own thing. But you could add that right to the keg. It would immediately disperse, and it would have a very strong flavor. Mm-hmm. Just an idea.
Alternately, you could have a keg of plain seltzer.
Yeah.
And then have your flavorings there at the bar or at the picnic table or whatever, and people could
like raspberry, mustard.
That's right. You can make.
Hey, Edna, do you want some sauerkraut on that?
It's like a snow cone stand all of a sudden,
or a Bloody Mary stand.
Ooh.
Okay.
Well, there you go.
Next show.
So, Second batch of hard seltzer, I learned more.
Yeah.
The product is better.
Yep.
Feed your yeast, and you know, you come up with some and get some good flavors to put into your hard seltzer at the end of it.
That's really drinkable. It's a little bit like a raspberry emergency that you drink in the morning. One of those vitamin things. Just get 8 ounces of this. Start your day off right.
Raspberry emergency.
Well,
Oh, emergency.
emergency.
Oh. Trying to think of the last time I had a raspberry emergency.
Well,
Get out of my way!
when you have one,
I got a raspberry
you
emergency.
gotta move quick. There's nothing like it.
All right, everybody.
And nothing like this either. Cheers.
Cheers. Happy brewing. Come and visit us online at basicbrewing.com. You can find archive lists of our audio and video podcasts on homebrewing. You can also find our DVDs and our brewer's logbook, where you can track and log up to 50 batches of beer.
Vogue.
Okay. Strike a pose.
Strike a pose.
All right. Here we go.
All right.